Well, that's just perfect. We are one way a day away from Doomsday, this time for real, and we're getting a despair chapter. Yeah, yes, perfect. All in all, hi for those who are watching. It's the Angry Enemy Fan the Despair Reviewer bringing you Fairy Tales chapter 509. August have, of course, defeated the Crime Secor in order to prove to us that yes, he's a badass. He even gave Jalal his second most defeat. And he again begins to talk to him like that he was foolish to go down from the path even though he was once a follower, which is kind of strength that he's even putting his head, I mean Jalal's head down with his foot. I never thought August would be the kind of man who would do such a kick the dog moment, but also it's very strange that he considers that he can. I mean, I know he's loyal to the Emperor, but the way he says a devout believer, I thought Seraph hated all of his believers. And Jalal mentions, I found a light that illuminated my darkness, which is of course the girl he loves, Ersa. But then August begins to say the exact same thing uh, Invel said, that light is not, darkness is not necessarily bad. Something like, but although August says it in a different way, he says it that light is your justice, while darkness your transgression. How utterly shallow. He then begins to reveal that Seraph, yes, indeed have a child, but mentions that child was somehow born out of a mighty power of light at his disposal. We still don't know how, but I have a feeling it's a little bit more complicated than we think. But however, Rakhied, as is the child's name, as we know now, is somehow was not capable of knowing how to love. Uh, Therefore, he lived in a road between light and darkness, and therefore have to reach a state of mind devoid of anything, meaning that Rakhied does not have a single bit of emotion in him, which is probably why he got pleasure magic in order for just to find emotions. Therefore, August ends the way, in words I actually agree with. There is no good or evil in light or in darkness. It does not exist. If there is a true justice in this world, it may lie in love and nothing else. That is something I must say is actually quite true. Darkness doesn't necessarily have to be bad, nor does light have, although I consider light more bad than darkness. It is still very much the way that love is the emotion of all. So Jalal, channel your love in the power of feelings and uh, fight. As well, then Kagura begins to fight Rakhied, who reveals to them that his name is Rakhied Dragneel and is Natsu's nephew and therefore Seraph's son, and saying that the reason he came here is also because he wanted to kill Natsu by his own hands, because apparently Seraph had always loved Natsu more than Rakhied. Given to the Fae, August says that Rakhied never could love, and maybe Seraph never really loved Rakhied. And so Kagura shows some amazing skill, which was actually a good time, a long time ago. And she even managed to fight off the resistance for a while by biting her tongue and also harness the arch enemies. But despite that, Rakhied blocks the attack with two fingers, which is once again strong, as he reveals that of all the Springham 12, he, Eileen, and August are the strongest and therefore the most dangerous. Therefore, they must be defeated quickly. So he cuts Kagura and mentions how much he likes to turn that suffering into pleasure, even though and mocks her. So yeah, that was just something. So he's a guy that also wants to spare. Well, how surprising! It seems that all the three of the strongest Springham wants that. It's also a little bit weird how he considers that so much pain, love, shall give you a peaceful death, one without a hint of anguish. Let her pure soul ascend to the free heavens. Does that mean that Kagura just died, or is she just cut off? Well, this is fairy tale. No named character dies, and Makarov already died, so it's no actually difficult for her to die. As Rakhied begins once again to torture Yukino, we get to the most strangest part of all time, where August, in a little bit of a melancholy look, says, His Majesty's child, if he ever were to be defeated, it could only be by the hands of his mother. And then we see a picture of Mavis, whose illusion has now ceased, and she's naked again, although we don't see it fully yet, who is still shivering and sweating in pleasure. So that's what I'm asking. So are you saying that Rakhied is the child of Mavis and Seraph after all? Well, there are many reasons how that actually is impossible, and I'm not talking about the reason that Mavis actually has such a young body. If you think about it, she wasn't young. She was about 20 when she died, or so. So technically, she wasn't young. But it's more common that technically she died. So how the hell is this possible? Nah, no idea. But August did mention that Rakhied was born in a twilight of light and darkness, meaning that he probably were created. Apparently, Seraph must have taken a piece of Mavis and a piece of himself and made Rakhied, probably as a memento. It's just that Seraph, being Seraph, could never truly love him because, well, of his curse, and therefore Rakhied had no other emotion, so to speak. But what if Mavis now is the mother, which I hope we will get an explanation for that? Why is she the only one who can stop him? It's granted Mavis has powerful light magic, but I hope this will be resolved quickly. I already do not like Rakhied that much, but that's because he always has so much despair. This was not exactly a chapter I wanted one day before Doomsday, but hell, there's nothing we can do about it, except accepting our fates, which we shouldn't do, and as we slowly die. But next chapter is called Natsu's Heart, so what is that gonna mean? Is this gonna be some well, what's that word? An inblick on how where Natsu's EMD transformation lies, or is it gonna be somewhere else, or is it gonna be his love or so? I mean, it's not exactly confirmed if he is affected by the pleasure too. He was unconscious after all. Oh, by the by, we have some cute deviant magic. I mean, uh, pictures, especially one of Mira Jane and Luxus, but that's beside the point. And so the chapter ends. Rakhied is the son of Seraph and probably the son of Mavis. How is he gonna be stopped? No freaking idea. But now, with the strongest Springham have been revealed, they need to be defeated, and quickly. It's about time this despair ceases. So give me your thoughts if you have any.